fish and chips one was funny. It was Lay's potato chips and goldfish, just on a plate. It's like fish and chips. Follow me for more recipes.
Man, and this is, I think that's actually one of the points that we like to hit on is that social media is not a problem. What you go looking for on any form of media is the problem. If you want to wake up in the morning, open up your social media and say, what am I upset with today? Let's see what I need to be told to be upset with today. What fight am I going to fight from behind my? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What fight am I going to fight from behind the safety of my keyboard in my warm house in this privileged society? Because if you want, the algorithm only shows you what you're most interested in looking at. So if you like puppies are going to show up. If you like watches, watches are probably going to show up. You like fitness, that shows up. So if you think that all that's on social media is negativity, that just tells you what you go looking for. Because any type of media is strictly there to generate viewership because they monetize it. They're just going to show you what keeps you watching. So if it pisses you off, the problem is you, not media. Because there's a whole bunch of really fun stuff like fish and chips. Or a banana and a hot dog. Banana bread. Follow me for more recipes. See, this is what the world should be laughing at. They should be using that to take themselves out of a bad mood.
Yeah.
But they love to use social media to put themselves in a bad mood, because then it's easier to believe that somehow people have been held back magically by this supernatural force because they're told by social media that, oh, you're there, this demographic, this other demographic is holding you back. Just like, comment, and subscribe my page so I can monetize and I'll keep pissing you off. It's so easy to manipulate simple minds. Just make them believe that the problems in their life are caused by someone else. People will always take the path of least resistance, and hate is always easy to cultivate within people. Every leader that you see that has done bad things in the past has used turning another group into the villain. And then you can get voted in, you can take power, you can take control on the premise that these other people are the problem. It's incredible. So it's people think that they're woke, but their eyes are closed because they can't even see how easy they're being manipulated. So,
well, that's what I told you yesterday. It's like people can't get out of their own way.
No.
I know it's a simple thing to say, but it's like once you can just, okay, it's me versus me. I mean, things instantly get better when you can look at yourself and say, okay, what can I do? I had this conversation with my friend. He was slowing down for work. Winter's always a slow season, and I told him, I said, okay, what are you doing to find more work?
I'm gonna eat some ramen here while you're talking. This is really good.
And we went over, okay, are you advertising? Are you this? Are you cold calling people? And we went through all these different things, and he's just like, well, I'm not doing anything really. I'm essentially relying on referrals.
Word of mouth or an accidental discovery.
Which is great when you build up your reputation. That's how most guys are getting all their work. So we went through everything, and then all of a sudden he cold called a builder. Hey, are you looking for some carpenter to kind of do some subcontract? And now he's working for this builder doing subcontracting work. And I said, so how much effort did you put in? He's like, well, I just made a phone call. I cold called the guy. And he's just like, yeah, actually I could, let's work together and we'll try it out. And
yep.
He's done a few jobs, and I'm like, okay, so like, what else aren't you doing? And it's like these people, I can't find work, I can't do this, I can't do that. Well, what are you doing?
Work isn't finding me is what they're saying.
They're sitting at home doing nothing. And it's like, are you
and then
going
it's easy to manipulate them and say that
Absolutely.
The wealthy held you back. You can't get a job because of the wealthy.
Yeah.
You can't get a job because the immigrants coming to the country. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm gonna be on Instagram for my 6th hour today complaining about the things holding me back. So if you take a step back and watch what's actually holding people back, like you said, people just don't get out of their own way. They don't realize how much of their own bullshit that they stew in, their bouquet of bullshit. So it's very amusing, yeah. And this is why people new to the country, there's nothing but opportunity here. they do very well in their first 2 or 3 years because they say, oh wow, I'm allowed to work 24 hours a day. And that's not for everybody. Like, you shouldn't have to do that to survive, but some people have the option. I can, instead of doing an 8-hour job, like employment, I can do 2 and get double the income. Or I can start a business and determine if I want to work 8 to 16 hours today. So instead of taking a lifetime to get where they want to go, in 3 to 5 years, the people new to the country see the opportunity. Here, we're born into it. We don't have a sense of urgency, so we don't go out and start a business. We don't go out and work extra hours because we're told that's a social construct more than a 40-hour week. We should only have to work 28 hours a week. Well, 3 on, 4 off. You should make 120 grand a year and have 4 months of holidays. Otherwise, you're being abused by your employer. And who dropped this seed into people's ears that they actually believe this crap? And the number of people that follow that belief, and then you see their outcome. The people new to the country are seeing incredible outcomes in the exact same country. The people born into the privilege, called oppression. The people coming from somewhere else, called opportunity. It's the same country. How is that possible?
Yeah.
Mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's...
I saw someone commented on something about minimum wage. They said minimum wage equals the minimum amount of work required. And it's just like, if you go into a job and you're getting minimum wage, I mean, oil field was always, I'm okay. Oil field was tricky because you have the overachievers that are trying to move up no matter where they go. And that's where, anywhere. But most guys just wanted to go in, do the bare minimum, and then complain about, unsanitary conditions that they're working in. And it's like, okay, I've never seen unsanitary conditions.
No, they're trucks, they're rig trucks.
Yeah,
they got beer bottles, crack pipes, some old condoms and stuff in theirs, and laundry they haven't done for 3 weeks, and they're talking about unsafe work conditions or dirty work conditions because it doesn't look like the Taj Mahal. Oh yeah, the privilege in the oil field is incredible.
But, and I'm sure I've worked a job somewhere where I didn't put as much effort as I should have. And looking back now, I mean, before I changed my mindset, I can see those. I'm aware of what I used to be like, where I worked, what my mood was like, how I let my mood affect me.
And who you blamed for.
And who I blamed for.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so if you can go back and you can answer those questions honestly, just to yourself. You don't need to explain it to anybody. That's where the most growth has been. And now I see, I'm like, okay, so you'll put in 40, 50 hours for someone, which is great. You'll go in, you'll bust your ass, but then you'll go home and you refuse to do anything for yourself, or start a business because it doesn't have that hourly monetary value attached to it, because it's like, well, it might not pay off. Yeah, but it might pay off. So now I just look at everything as like, okay, instead of looking at things that could happen, but it's like I'm always looking at the upside. Okay, well, if I do this is going to generate that. But then it's like, I don't need to just do this.
No, always layer what you're doing. People want a full life by only applying 8 lackluster hours. They think that's going to result in years of security down the road. I'm putting in 1/3 of an effort, that's 1/3 of a day, 8 hours, and they're expecting to retire for decades with millions of dollars. I don't even believe that what I just said out loud is how people think their future is going to look. I'm going to put in mediocrity and expect glory at the end. And I know a lot of people will fight this in the comments and say, oh, I'm barely making it. It's not like I'm expecting this. It's so hard to blah, 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 this and that. Everything can be traced back to bad decisions, bad choices. And the biggest issue why people don't have any real self-growth is because it involves that really uncomfortable moment in your life where you have to look in the mirror and realize what's looking back at you is every problem that's ever been caused in your life. Not, oh, I was dating someone and they ruined my life. I gave them 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Oh, my boss treats me like crap. If you cannot look yourself in the eye and say you're responsible for every aspect of your, unless someone, like there's that 1% outside where someone, that you didn't even know physically came in and did something bad to you.
Yeah.
But every relationship you've been in, you're half of it. Every employment you've been in, you sign the employment contract. No one devalues your time other than you. If you go and say, I'm going to do this job, and the employment contract says you do this many hours and you receive this compensation, you were at an understanding. That's what you get. Your employer didn't devalue your time just because you want more money or you want to spend more. You decided this is what my time's worth and they're paying you for it. So for you to go and say, well, I'm going to put in less effort because I'm not being compensated more, you're not putting in more effort to be compensated more. So what you've just done is what you agreed to do for a certain amount, you're putting in less effort. This is where people, and this social media mentality of you're being taken advantage of. You have nothing more to offer your employer if you just want to be an employee. So why would you get more money just because the cost of living has gone up? It's true, the cost of living has gone up. Why? Because we keep paying people too much for a job that has no increased value. Yes, everyone should get paid. Minimum wage shouldn't be a bare minimum, but it's also not a career. It's there as an entry-level job. So if all your only skill sets allow you to get a minimum income, you don't get to live even an average life. You're only applying for a minimum income. What you're upset at is that you don't have the skills to get more compensation. But that would mean you have to look in the mirror and have that uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
How do I add more value so I can get more compensation? You'd rather just go online, find millions of other people that think they're being taken advantage of, because if you have millions of people agreeing with you, that's the new truth. Then you say, well, I can't get somewhere because the billionaires are stopping me. They don't even know who you are because they're out achieving, you're out complaining. This is where the big divide is. And people will argue as much as they want. They think they know everything about the billionaires. Now the billionaires are crooked, evade taxes and all that. If they know so much about how to be a billionaire, how are they struggling? Just, be more ethical than a billionaire and just make better than the average income. Apply the knowledge, but all those, crooked things that you think they do, but you don't actually know anything about it because you've never read a tax code. Why don't you just read the tax code and be like, oh, that makes sense. My friends who own a cafe have the exact same opportunities as any billion-dollar company. The tax code's the same for all of it. But no one wants to believe that. They want to believe, trust me, bro.
Yeah.
You can't get ahead because some billionaire gets up every morning and oppresses you.
Yeah.
Is that Kyle? I'm going to get up. I'm going to make your life a living hell. Because they have, you think they got to where they were by worrying about individual broke mindsets? Not a chance. And then you got, the conversations like we have, gonna build your first house next year. And how many different facets in each hour of every day you're gonna be able to showcase your work. Showcase your apparel line. Build up the media around it. Every day is 24 hours, but if you're putting 3 or 4 different layers over it, you're getting 75 to 100 hours worth of return on a 24-hour day. This is what simple mindsets, broke mindsets don't understand. They think I went to work for 8 hours, I got this much money. A billionaire must get paid $1 million an hour, and that's not fair. No. A billionaire has made every hour of the day generate revenue. They don't binge watch TV. They probably created the program that you're binge watching.
Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. Or whatever it is. And people hate when you talk about this because it always points back to the only person that'll solve your problem is not the government you elect to take more taxes away from people that aren't avoiding paying taxes in the first place. You're just going to have to change the way you approach life. And no, not everyone has to be wealthy. It doesn't make you good or bad. We're not talking about good or bad people. We're talking about how much you learn and whether you apply it or not. So if you don't actually know about the people outside of your tax bracket, don't comment on them. Work on yourself and your tax bracket. Instead of being so damn sure that the billionaires should give more back, why don't you ask yourself, how do I get there? And then I'll give it all away. Be more concerned about getting yourself to the point where you can just give it all away than demanding someone who knows more than you and understands more about the world and how they got there. Don't critique them. Maybe don't make enemies with them, and then you could apprentice with them. You could journeyman with them. You could get a mentor. But no, that would involve admitting that you're wrong
Yeah.
and sitting down at a table, even just one step above what you usually listen to. That's really the only difference between what I've seen people evolve in, because wealth isn't actually money. Broke mindsets think money makes you wealthy. Your global communication makes you wealthy because you can get anything done with a phone call. Money can't necessarily buy something if what's needed isn't for sale. And broke minds won't even understand what I just said there.
There was a point I didn't understand that. It's the more, like I said, showing up to these little events or just discussing, hey, do you want to build a house next year? You learn very quick that it's like, yeah, that's not the case.
Opportunities come up. Do you process it far enough to make it a possibility? Or do you let an opportunity pass you by because you did not educate yourself with enough knowledge of the process to make it a possibility? The house is going to be such a learning experience for everyone who's been watching what we've done for the last 5 years, because it's going to be something, it's no longer just knowledge and how much of it you picked up or understood. You can physically reach out and touch the house. We all live in a house or some type of residence. Someone had to build it, right? And if you don't know how to do it, you have to pay a premium to have a house. Or you can learn how to do it and do it yourself and save that premium, which in this city is anywhere from 180 to God knows what profit by the builder, because you need to pay them for that skill that they have, which is why you're not getting paid more, because you don't have the skill to be paid more. It all makes sense when you take a step back and not be pissed off. You just look at why people generate more. You need a house. Someone's going to build it. You need them, so they get to dictate the price. Your employer doesn't need you, so he offered you a price and you signed the employment contract. That's what pisses people off so much. They agreed to devalue their time for the rest of their life, thinking that something magical is going to happen that's going to be called retirement. Yeah, I think a video like this is really going to get on people's nerves, because I'm not attacking anyone in particular. I'm attacking a mindset which keeps you broke.
That's the number one issue. There's nothing I did that was out of the norm to better myself or think that I can't do something else outside of what my quote-unquote day job is. Yeah.
I know, it's one of those things where eventually you just stop listening to what the mass public has to say, because you realize they're not actually interested in having a dialogue. They just want you to hear them being right, and they'll raise their voice, they'll call you names. An intelligent person will never call you names because you don't agree.
They want you to quit so that they can feel better about themselves.
Yeah, they think they win because you walked away, when really you're just, I'm not going to say smarter, you just value your time. And if you're talking to someone who's not even, you realize very quickly they're not going to change their mindset, which is probably why they're there to complain against you anyways. They're not going to change their mindset. And wealthy people or people who are achieving value their time. Because I could be spending that time having a bowl of ramen at my friend's cafe, a phenomenal bowl of ramen here at Boa and Air. Shameless plug, but it's awesome here. Or I could be out, having an argument with someone who's not listening. Now, I know a lot of people love having those useless conversations because they have them with other people who are not achieving. So as a group, they're all compliant with each other, and it just remains static. They talk about gossip. They talk about trying to brag about trips and all-inclusives and getting drunk. They talk about the things that they buy that depreciate in value. Wealthy people don't buy things that depreciate in value. They only invest in things that appreciate. Right there is just a complete mindset shift. And the worst part is what the progressive world, especially the North American culture, is I'll put it on credit. So I'm going to pay interest while it's depreciating faster than I can pay it off. And then they blame the wealthy people for selling it to them. How many wealthy people told you that they do not allow streaming services for their children? Because like, no, I'm going to raise my children to understand the way of the world. Okay, let's talk about how the wealthy even bring their children up. Yes, a lot of them are snotty little brats. There's not actually that many second and third generation wealthy trust fund kids as they believe, oh, you have to come from wealth to be wealthy. But families who understand generational wealth will pay to get their children into the Ivy League schools. You know, in the city that we're in, our university is world renowned for medicine. But you're not going to meet the senator's son. You're not going to meet America's biggest law firm's son, like the managing partner, their son. They don't go to this university. They're going to be at Harvard, Cambridge, like places like that. These parents will pay 80 to 150,000 a year. So their kids, yeah, they're probably getting drunk all the time. They're not actually learning a lot, but who they just met. Their parents used money to get their kids connected. So their first job, instead of being at a law firm where they're making lots of money, they're going to be at the US's biggest law firm, even in the mailroom. So they're right off the bat, you're at a much higher level just coming out of university.
The access to people.
That's what Ivy League is. It does not get you a better degree. The real network of the world. You're going to know the next senator. You might know the next president. You might know the child of a multinational company. Broke minds aren't there. I hate to say it, like it sounds terrible. But that's really the advantage that the wealthy have in giving their children a head start, is who they're going to meet. So there is a huge advantage. But if they don't take advantage of it, if they don't turn it into a possibility to grow themselves, it was useless. That's really what it is. Whereas someone who's just hardworking and has to spend an extra 5 to 8 years to get themselves into a situation, that barrier to entry, yeah, it might take 5 to 8 years longer, but you can still do it.
Yeah.
This belief that if you didn't start there, you can't go there, no. There's almost 4,000 billionaires in the world right now. 20 years ago, there was only, what was it, 800 or so? Where did over 3,000 billionaires, where did they come from? If it's only the wealthy didn't have 3,000 billionaires worth of kids. If there was only 800 billionaires, how did they have 3,000 kids? The math doesn't math,
No.
but broke mindsets, simple mindsets, don't actually use it when they're complaining about a demographic. They just all agree. Yep, shouldn't be billionaires. Really? Chances are your parents, who've been working a long time to put you in a house that is now your static starting point, anything below that you think is poverty, even if it's a really nice house that took them 40 years to get into, chances are their employer, because the ability to become wealthy in North America employed your parents, which they had to put in a 40-hour work week, got you there. But since you started there, you think that's oppression. Ooh, stings a little bit, eh? This one's gonna piss some people off.
Yeah.
The nice thing is you can't cancel us. You can take us off of platforms, doesn't stop us from doing what we're doing globally. Which probably pisses people off more.
Probably.
But we're not actually here to piss people off. We're hoping people that don't want to hear this just don't come back for another episode. And that way we can focus on the few dozen that are left who want more out of life and they just need the knowledge. They have the effort, they have the drive, they have that desire for more, but they don't know how to achieve more. And it isn't just grind and work harder, all those courses that they try and sell you online where I'm going to teach you how to grind and scale your company. No, it's strictly a mindset shift, like you said. You went from oil field to basically carpentry, but you had the pandemic in there, so it was basically everyone was unemployed. Then you went into carpentry.
I still got married right when COVID hit.
All those same things that everybody else complains that they're dealing with. You didn't have to fight through it. You love your other half.
I took a 60% pay cut to start carpentry, and then was told by people that, I mean, I still talk to the oil field guys for the first few years just in case, you know, the pandemic was really just like the unanswered questions of what was going to happen. So at some point, if I needed to go back to pipe fitting, I still had a couple of relationships.
You didn't burn the bridge.
Yeah, so, and they're like, well, what do you mean like you're a carpenter now. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, get my red seal, and then, you know, I mean, the end goal at the time was to start a company. And they're like, well, like, what do you mean though? Like, you're not coming back? And I'm like, no, I'm not coming back. I'm like, and none of them could fathom the pay cut. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go in the hole for at least a little bit. But I thought, well, what about 5 years from now? Okay, 5 years from now in the oil field with the amount of work, I knew where I'd be. Okay, well, now
Technically, you don't, because oil prices could lay you off there too.
yeah, and it's like, there was no work. And it's like, okay, well, now I'm gonna do something that, I mean, I call it recession proof, because someone needs something built.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, the price will, you know,
The market will dictate the price you get for your time.
but I mean, I'm here now, and it's like, it took me 5 years. COVID kind of screwed up the schooling, but it took me 5 years to get through schooling instead of the 4, because they shut down schools
And you went and had kids in there.
yeah,
Just
I had
keep
2
stacking
kids,
them.
and then I started a company in between the 2 kids, because I told my wife, I'm like, okay, well, actually, no, it was before the first kid, actually, sorry. I was like, if we're gonna start a company, I wanna do it a year before we have a kid, so I can get the growing pains.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I really don't wanna go through the growing pains while you're on mat leave. Yeah, tried to figure it out on my own, had the kid, you know, second year was a lot better. I met a fantastic group of people that have helped me along the way, and there's always something you can do. You just have to,
And complaining isn't the one.
no, and I actually had this conversation with my dad this morning about taking the emotion out of everything, and you know, like, you know what best sums it up is like when you get a text from someone and they reply, and somehow they spin that into, oh, like he's mad at me, and it's like
They add the tone to words, text. Yeah.
Yeah. So take the emotion out of things, and yeah, it's a lot easier to operate if you're not. I don't let my mood. You know, if I wake up in a sour mood, I'm like, well, you know, why? And 99.9% of the time, it's because I'm just in a sour mood for no reason at all. So.
Yeah, lack of sleep, lack of proper nutrition, maybe a crying baby, maybe the neighbor made some noise, or sometimes we're allowed to have that off day. It's your decision whether to make it 2 off days in a row, 3 off days in a row, 3 months. Well, let's pretend it's mental health when really you put yourself there. You just don't realize the choice you made 3 months prior. That one hits a real nerve when I say that we keep giving the focus to maybe the issue is because there's a mental health. Let's find the mental health and focus on that for the next 5 years, so you never have to actually achieve. You can just blame something in the past. But you'd think the moment that you discovered what it is that's this mental health issue, you would be correcting it, right? You'd be talking about it, expressing your feelings, all these things they tell you to do it so you're not toxic. But all that does is it opens up the door to just start complaining all the time. And then you sit at those tables where everybody agrees because everybody loves complaining, and it takes the responsibility off themselves. Therapy only works if you acknowledge what the issue is and work on it. Just going to therapy to talk about it for years just proves that therapy doesn't work. You just want someone to hear your problems. So therapy does work, but not in our mindset. We just want to complain, because the longer we complain, the more it seems real. And then you find out whether you start getting medicated and your brain doesn't work as well, or you just sit with people that also want to talk negative all the time, and you lose 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. And then it's someone else's fault that all those years went by, and then there's regret, which spirals you further down.
Yeah.
Sorry, just face it at one point. Some things are terrible, like what's going on in my life right now. It's an unfortunate situation. And it's not me against everyone else. I deal with things the way I do. Other people deal with it the way they do. For me, I just went to the gym more. I cut most communications, and I just went to the gym more because that was a way to get out the aggression. So I never said or did something that could affect someone else because of what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to my friends and my family and bitch about it, so they'd be like, oh, poor you. Let me tell you how much you need to feel bad about what's going on. No. Sometimes you just bury it down, work out. You come out with a better physique and a better mindset. And what you'll do is you'll start identifying who's trying to bring you down into their group of the complainers and the gossipers and the bullshit. And like you said about you just showing up at events, the watch event, food tours, you're just finding people who are happy with life. They're not rich. They just find that getting up every day and looking for a reason to be happy, and I'm not talking those ignorantly happy, they're ignorant to what their life looks like, so they get medicated and pretend they're happy. I'm talking about people that they love going for a walk. They love taking their dog out for a walk. They love having a cigar. They love having that cup of coffee. It's not needed so the caffeine gets me going, otherwise I hate my life. No, they really just appreciate that cup of coffee in the morning. That means they woke up alive and they get to have that cup of coffee. That's how you should treat every day. When you wake up, that's a gift. So why are you going to waste 24 hours by saying, this wasn't at the exact degree that I wanted. Oh, I asked for 2 pumps of maple syrup, not whatever this is. Or, oh, the cup's got a chip in it. How about this? That's a good cappuccino.
No, I found that even like the watch event is perfect to bring up, because it's like, it's just other people in a positive mindset, where when you're like, I don't think any true guy likes to brag about what he's doing. So it's kind of, sometimes it's a little weird to talk about, but like,
you only brag when it's not true.
Yeah, so it's, bringing up like what I'm working on, this year and going into next year, having people be like, oh man, like, they think it's awesome because they're also working on stuff in their lives, so they can relate to you and say, yeah, we're doing 2 separate things. And then
but they're also doing 14-hour days.
and one of the guys at the watch event, when I brought up what I was working on and I want to introduce next year, he's like, well, like, how did you come up with this idea? And I'm like, I just want to do it. I'm like, so this is how I'm approaching it. And then all of a sudden, I always wanted to do something kind of like this. Okay, well, like, it's not that hard. You just need to start, wake up. I don't know where to start for, everyone's different, like, it depends obviously what you're trying to create.
The only wrong direction is not starting, or fear of it not going right the first 1 or 2 times.
And then meeting people at that same event who already have similar but different companies that have gone through processes that I'm currently trying to go through, to give me advice. Hey, if you want to sit down for coffee and I can tell you everything. And that's the thing, they just want to like help people. They're not looking for anything.
Because, and that's for 2 reasons. Either they didn't have someone to help them and they knew how difficult it was, or they did have someone to help them and now they feel that need and that fulfillment of helping someone else. When you're actually in those circles and at those tables, you realize that the successful, and we'll just use the term wealthy because that's what people hate, they're not the greedy ones. When you drop your bullshit mindset of creating an enemy out of someone who doesn't even know who you are, you get rid of that and you go sit with them, you're going to find out that they want you to succeed because you're not competition to them. You're just another rung in the ladder of a really, really long ladder that helps you climb. You are good at construction. I'm good at finance. Look how obviously building a house just makes sense. It might take you years to get the finance to do it, and it would take me years to figure out how to build a house. Or we combine the 2 and we just build a house in spring and the snow lifts. Done. Nowhere did we say who gets more out of this. I get another house, you have a project, your first house under your... Who's to say which one's going to equal more, but...
That part doesn't matter.
We're already looking 5 years down the road. Not with a 5-year plan, but this has to be done now in order for 5 years to exist. And I don't think people really get that.